Or if you're old.
Perfect day for this.
Yes. If the sun would shine just a little.
No.
Just a little.
Responsible for the balloons. They spell 5 feet. Nope.
Really?
See, we borrowed these chairs from the Illinois Rural Electric, WIUC. That's where we're getting our power from.
Supposed to be like a 10% chance.
It looks like it is talking about there with that power.
Well, I did it. I got the stage here. I got the chairs here.
It looks like it.
Yeah, you got it. Yeah.
Oh, yeah, I know. You know the rules on this, Joey. Okay, Susie's going. She's up there. Came to your She's in
Good morning. How's that work? Can you hear me okay? We're good in the rear? All right. Well, what a perfect day. When we were planning this event, we said August. Oh my gosh, it's probably going to be miserably hot, but you know, look what we got. We got an absolutely beautiful day. The rain got its way out of the system, and so we're very appreciative of that. But most importantly, we really appreciate all of you who have taking the time to come out this morning and help us celebrate 5 years and growing strong, and to talk a little bit about and from whence we've come as well. But again, welcome, and with that I would like to introduce Larry McClintock, who happens to be the most tenured, is that the right word, Larry? I didn't want to say senior. Most tenured member of our board, starting his 17th year in terms of dedicating his time to Memorial Hospital.
Thank you. Let's bow our heads and we'll have a prayer. Heavenly Father, we're grateful for this day and for what the hospital means to each and every one, for our community and the surrounding area. Father, for the day of celebrating Franklin Hartzell's lake, and for the beauty that that's going to add for our hospital and the new MOB building, we thank you for all these things and for those who support it. Father, thank you very much for all the ones who have jobs because of these facilities. It means so much to our community. These things I pray in Jesus' name. Amen.
On behalf of the board, I'd like to welcome everybody to share this experience with us. I'd like to begin by expressing our condolences to Florine Dixon and Greta Wetzel's families in the recent loss of loved ones. I'd like to thank Ada, the management team, the doctors, all the employees, and the board for the countless hours that they spend in dedication to Memorial Hospital. Also, I'd like to personally remember Franklin Hartzell and what he meant to me and just all around general. I miss him. I'd also like to thank Dr. McKinney, who, as you all know, is not an employee, but is for his years of service to Memorial. And he currently and is perennially the annual largest producer in revenue generated for the hospital. And he's recently the recipient of the Illinois Rural Physician of Excellence Award from the Illinois Rural Hospital Association. And just a few stats about Memorial. We operate on a $39 million annual budget, 220 full and part-time employees with an $8 million annual payroll. But one stat that most people don't realize is Memorial gives $3 million, in the neighborhood of $3 million a year in annual charity care. And that's something that most people don't realize, what an impact this facility has on all of us. And I'd like to just suggest that you spread the news to your family, friends, and neighbors about the facility of Memorial Hospital and our capabilities. Encourage them all to become part of us. On behalf of the board, thank you.
I too would like to thank our board members, and if you wouldn't mind, board members, just kind of give a little bit of a, yeah, Matt, you can do a bigger wave, Matt and Sharon and Chuck, and because I'm always going to forget, not see everybody who's out there, and Carol, I'm scanning the crowd. These individuals, as Dan said, give really countless volunteer hours, so I can't thank them enough for their leadership and their support. And to our medical staff, we have several, I think, out there with us. Oh, the finger's going, yeah, Dr. Davis is going to stand there quietly, and somebody said Dr. Jones was around and somewhere, and Dr. Wesp. And you know what, believe it or not, we happen to be a hospital, and our surgical crew is in surgery this morning. So Dr. Peters he's with us, but back there. And one of the reasons why Dina will be slipping out here momentarily to go support her surgical crew. But to our medical staff, And to our employees and our entire team, again, thank you very much for your commitment, but also for the compassion that you bring to work every day. While we're here to celebrate our 5 years in this beautiful new facility, we're also here to celebrate the legacy of Franklin Hartzell. He was just an amazing man. But before I talk about that, when you were driving over the overpass this morning, didn't you just look around and go, oh, wow, this has to be the most beautiful rural setting for a hospital any place else. We are so blessed with an absolutely gorgeous facility and campus. And yesterday I had the opportunity to give a tour. Two individuals from the SIU School of Medicine were here visiting. And I can tell you they walked away blown away. They thought the facility was absolutely beautiful. They were impressed with what we were doing, right here in rural Illinois, and just couldn't say enough wonderful things about our organization and what we were doing. But the thing that I think makes us really most unique are those tiny hidden miracles that touch lives every single day in a very real and meaningful and compassionate way. It's the employee who really didn't have enough of a paycheck for themselves, but contributed to the capital campaign anyway because they believed in us. In the last few weeks, I've been told on more than one occasion what it meant when they saw a tear running down the cheek of the staff member who was having to tell them that their loved one had passed away. And what an incredible message that sent to the family. It's the OB staff who's been with that mom, excited about the pending birth, and it's the change of shift. And she says, I'm not leaving. I've been with this mom for hours in labor, and I'm going to stay and support this mom until this baby's born. It's our volunteer at the front desk who looks out and says, somebody's pulled up and they need a wheelchair, or they call someone in one of the offices and say, you know what, I think somebody needs to have some valet parking. Let's go out and get that done. And it was Franklin, when I could pick up the phone on a Saturday and say, Franklin, I really need to talk to you and I need your advice. And he always would give me his ear anytime. Those are what I think really makes us incredibly unique. So right here in Hancock County, we have a beautiful campus. We have leadership, we have quality of care, we have an incredibly supportive community. But what makes it so we have it all are those tiny, hidden miracles that you all have helped us to accomplish each and every day. Thank you.
As you see in your program, Greta Wetzel is supposed to be speaking right now, and Greta this morning is laying her father to rest. So I'm going to step into her large shoes and see if I can read her speech and hopefully not do it shame. During the past 8 years, Memorial Hospital has had an army of volunteers from our community carrying out the ongoing task of raising funds for the capital campaign. In the beginning of the campaign, the super committee came from all over the county, bringing volunteers together to collect contributions for the $4 million campaign for our new facility. Volunteers also came together to serve on Special Activities Committee, who led the charge with our special events, including street dances, talent shows, October Moon barn dances, Evergreens for Memorial, and the ever-favorite Here's to the Night Gala. The Major Gifts Committee has met loyally every month for the past 7 years to continue the work of raising major contributions. Many volunteer hours have been donated from the generous community members who support and believe in the cause of Memorial Hospital Organization. At this time, on behalf of the staff, the board of directors, the community, we would like to thank all those who have volunteered, giving of their time, talents, and treasures to the efforts of the Capital Campaign and Memorial Hospital as a whole. This organization would not be able to function to its fullest potential without our faithful volunteers. We wish all our volunteers only the best, and it is with heartfelt thanks we take a moment to recognize them and celebrate their successes in promoting Memorial Hospital. Thank you.
It's a pleasure for me to welcome you to this 5th anniversary of the opening of Memorial Hospital's new facility. From the first dedication, September 10th, 1950, Memorial has been a key element in providing health care to the communities of Hancock County. And crucial to that success of the hospital has been the money, time, and talent contributed by the many individuals, businesses, and other community groups. The first capital campaign raised 1/3 of the cost of the hospital, which was $732,000. The balance of that came from federal and state sources. Contributions ranged from $1 to several $1,000s, and the donors were recognized by finding their name in the paper. Capital campaign for this facility has raised $3.4 million, again in small amounts, up to several $1,000s. And inside the front door today, while you will see the donor wall where the names of these generous contributors have been posted. There are 6 levels of support: friend for $1,000 or more, associate for $10,000, partner for $25,000, neighborhood builder $50,000, community champion $100,000, and community benefactor $250,000. The donor list is updated annually and will continue to be that way. There are new donors added yearly, and there are some names that move from one level to another because of their continued support. This year, about 40 donors have been added to the list. Memorial has enjoyed generous support of the citizens since the original campaign started over 65 years ago. From modest individual contributions to substantial bequests, there's been continuity of support. Of course, we support the hospital, so it'll be here for us, our family, and our loved ones when it's needed. And you should have all probably received a booklet in the mail recently which had some powerful stories about the importance of Memorial Hospital. There are other reasons to give besides our self-interest, though. One, you give to a cause because it reflects your inner values and gives you a chance to strengthen those values. It's the chance to memorialize a loved one or maybe yourself. Giving allows you to control where your money goes and in the process maybe save yourself some tax dollars. But I think probably the most important motivator for this situation is the fact that many of you have very strong feelings about giving back to the community that you and your family have lived in for 3, maybe 4 generations. It's a very satisfying feeling knowing that your hard work and your good fortune allows you to be generous to the benefit of those who are less so. We often hear the term visionary applied to people who seem to have an insight into the future and how change will affect things. Visionaries have ideas and dreams, but without those people that are willing to do the hard work of implementing the dreams, those dreams will not come true. I doubt the original founders of Memorial Hospital thought of themselves as visionaries, but they were willing to do the hard work that was necessary to make this achievement, to achieve this. The initial impetus of the hospital was to build a living memorial for Hancock County's men and women who served in World War II. That desire to recognize members of the military has gone far beyond the initial purpose, and Memorial has always been prominent in adapting to those changes. There is an anonymous quote, I couldn't find who it was attributed to. It says, "Sometimes a small thing you do can mean everything in another person's life." I think that's particularly true when I think about the countless patients that have come to Memorial, fearful and in pain, and found comfort and reassurance. We'll never know if our own personal contribution of time or money or talent specifically touched another's life, but rest assured your support for Memorial Hospital has touched many countless grateful souls. The capital campaign, which started 7 years ago, will be replaced by a foundation at the end of this year. So the drive will continue to support, the hospital will continue in some form. I personally want to thank the loyal members of the campaign committee who participated and attended all those early morning meetings and hashed over so many important things. They included Franklin Hartzell, Ken Kaufman, David Fox, John Houston, Jim Nightingale, Jerry Bartell, and of course Ada, Rita, and Cynthia. Again, thanks to them and thanks to all of you and the community for your continuing support.
And I would like to express, John, just my personal thanks to you. When we launched the capital campaign and asked someone, we were looking for someone to step up to the plate and chair our major gifts committee, John didn't hesitate, and not only did he not hesitate, he has been that chair for the last 7 years. So, John, thank you very much.
It is a privilege to be with you today, representing the employees of Memorial Hospital in the Employee Capital Campaign. I am proud to say that not only have we met our goal of raising $500,000, but we have exceeded it by more than $28,000. Memorial Hospital employees are a truly dedicated group of healthcare workers. Thank you to each and every one of you who have been so giving with your generosity and loyalty. There are so many fond memories of the past 5 years as we have provided care to those in our community and beyond. Not only do we have a state-of-the-art facility, but employees who truly care about those who we are honored to serve. We are also blessed with supporters like you who value the need for a hospital in our community. Thank you for joining us today to celebrate 5 years in our new facility and also for allowing us to care for you. As we move forward, we promise to continue to provide the quality of care that you have come to expect from us. I look forward to celebrating many more anniversaries with this organization and offering the best health care in the tri-state area. Thank you.
5 years sometimes goes in a hurry, doesn't it? I consider it a privilege to have the opportunity to reminisce with you about our family's involvement with Memorial Hospital. My dad, Howard, became a board member shortly after the Hospital Association had been formed and served on the board for many years. During that time, he held several offices within the board and was very active, I think, until in the 1970s. I once asked him why he chose to get so involved in the life of Memorial Hospital. And he simply said, because the hospital is needed in our community. As a small boy, I was always tagging along with Dad, whether we were in the field or whether we was coming to town to get something or maybe taking a longer trip to buy livestock or machinery. And I have a lot of wonderful memories about going with him at the original hospital site as it was being built. And at that time I was able to just wander around in that complex of rooms and halls, and I was just amazed at what was going on, and sometimes I'd get lost. And there'd be a workman that would direct me back to wherever Dad was. And it was just a wonderful time. Times were different then. And that was before OSHA existed. I remember there was a large diesel engine was put in the basement of the hospital, and its purpose was to supply power for an auxiliary power plant in case there was a electrical malfunction or a power outage. And as a 6-year-old boy, I remember sitting on the stairs that went down to the basement, and I was amazed when that big engine came to life as they were testing it before they actually opened the hospital. I can remember that just as plain as can be. It probably wouldn't look like a very big engine now, but it looked awful big then. And another memory that I have, after the hospital opened, all the laundry for the facility was done on site, and it was down in the basement. And I can still remember the smell of the soap and feel the heat of the large washers and dryers. And even as a small boy, I thought that would really be miserable to have to work down there all day long. Faces and memories of so many of those people that were dedicated early on to build a hospital here. And those are still vivid in my mind. Mary Hartzell, an outstanding and courageous woman of her time. Hamill Graham, a farmer from West Point. Leon Lammy, an attorney from Warsaw. Homer Williams, an attorney from Carthage. Lloyd Erickson, a banker from Carthage. Dr. Arthur Orm, a local veterinarian. J.D. Trotter, family physician. Wendell DeMoss, a farmer from Bowen. John James, the first administrator of the hospital. Ruth Redazel, the second administrator to the hospital. These are only a few of the many that gave so much of their time and talents to make our hospital a reality. My mother, Lucille, became very involved, as other women in our community did, also serving as a Grey Lady for many years. Was a member of a local organization that they called Twigs, which did sewing and mending and other tasks as they were asked by the community and by the hospital. Times were different then, too. Fast forward with me to 2006. Ada and I had a chance meeting in the parking lot of the Dollar General store, and our conversation eventually turned to the proposal of building a new hospital on a new campus. And she asked me if I'd be interested in serving on a committee to try to get the funds available on a local level for the building of this hospital. And that was the beginning of my involvement with Memorial. Fast forward with me again to August 2009, 5 years ago. My mother was a patient in the hospital, and as moving day came closer, she was asked if she would like to be the first patient admitted to the new facility. And after some thought, she simply said, I would be honored. And so the plans were put in motion for her to be moved, and several times she said, quote unquote, there's too much fuss being made about me being the first patient, but I think she was probably enjoying every minute of it. And not by chance, she was admitted in room 123, a room that our family had made possible during the capital campaign. Days and weeks before the move had been made, there was meticulous plans. There was quite a schedule, right down to the minute, as to what would be moved, the sequence on how it would be moved, and the whole thing was done flawlessly. Well, to set the record straight, almost flawlessly. After all the pictures and the media interviews were over, we were ready to settle Mother into her room, and we found there were no clothes hangers in the closet. There wasn't a clothes hanger in the whole building. So the SOS went out, and in a matter of minutes there were armloads of clothes hangers brought over from the former hospital, and all was well. Fast forward with me one more time to September 2013, last September. An immediate member of our family had come out to the hospital. And after an examination, it was determined that person had to be immediately activated. Had to be, not activated, I'm sorry. Had to be evacuated by air. And so in those few minutes that we waited for the helicopter to arrive, the staff here was very professional and was very comforting to our family. And after the helicopter had arrived, it was really something to watch how our staff and that helicopter crew coordinated in preparing for the flight. And as we stood out on the parking lot of the emergency room and watched that helicopter lift off the pad, and it started off towards the northeast, my first thought was, they're going to Peoria. I thought we were going to Springfield. And then as the helicopter gained altitude, it turned towards the southeast. And as it disappeared from our sight, I was so grateful for so many people that had done so much over all of these years, that we right here in Hancock County, Illinois, could have such a wonderful facility and a vibrant hospital available to us for our use and for our comfort.
At this time, I'd like to invite Ada to step forward, Florine to step forward, and Teresa Smith to please come up on stage. And I don't believe Dan Smith is with us. But I'd also like Cindy Horn and Rob Biondolino to join us. As we gathered to plan our 5th year celebration, it was noted that 4 very special people needed to be recognized this morning. Ada, Dan, Florine, and Teresa meet on a regular basis in order to provide an exceptional, well-organized place in which our employees have the chance to succeed in their professions and to deliver quality healthcare services for our community. Our administrative senior leaders set the tone and the extraordinary example for our staff and for our community. At this time, we would like to give them a small token of appreciation and give them the thanks they truly deserve. Won't you please join me in giving them a round of applause for their many hours of work and dedication to Memorial Hospital. Last year, when our employees celebrated reaching their goal of $500,000, we had a celebration out here on our campus. And we had lots of pictures taken, and we had these little books, they're not little, these big books, designed, and I believe Kira Weber put them together for us. I don't know if she's here still. She was. Yes, she is. She made these books for us, and we're going to give one to each of our senior leaders as a thank you gift. Thank you very much. Thank you. It has a little quote inside for each of you. Thank you.
I really thought that CEOs were supposed to know what was happening in the organization. It's clear that our goal for our team to pick up the ball and run with it, they really took it to the limit. And I have been desperately trying to purchase one of these books, and Greta kept putting me off, and now I know why.
Okay, now for the fun part. It's an honor and a privilege to recognize the first two babies that were born at Memorial Hospital, already 5 years ago in August. Hard to believe it could be that long. Our first baby was a baby boy, Justin Michael Tinder. He was born August 17th at 3:10 a.m. He weighed 8 pounds, 21 inches long, and he was the first child of Katie Leroy and Justin Tinder of Hamilton. As of yesterday, they were planning on coming, but unfortunately Justin didn't feel well this morning, so they won't be with us. And, we wish them well. Our second baby is actually here today, and she's no longer a baby. She's 5 years old. Tricia Nicole Troutman was born the following day on August 18th at 12:24 p.m. She weighed 9 pounds, 2 ounces, and measured 20 inches long. She was the first child of Shayna Snyder and Wayne Troutman of Carthage, now living in Hamilton. It was really neat today because most of you probably realize that they now have 2 additional children. Tricia has another sister and a baby brother. What a nice family. We certainly appreciate their willingness to come today. And they also had a couple cousins that joined in the celebration. Dr. Jones was very privileged to deliver these children. And on behalf of Memorial Hospital, I would like to thank these families for allowing us to be part of their birthing experience. We're going to sing Happy Birthday because Tricia has a birthday cake that we're going to be giving her as well as a couple of additional presents. And even though her birthday isn't yet today, we want her to always remember this day and what a thrilling moment it was for us as it was for her too. So on the count of 3, I'll start the happy birthday if everybody would join in. 1, 2, 3. Happy birthday to you. Happy birthday to you. Happy birthday, dear Tricia. Happy birthday to you. Thank you. We wish you very many more happy birthdays.
Good morning. Glad to see you all here today. It is an honor and a privilege to be able to speak at Memorial Hospital's 5th anniversary celebration. I do wish I was sitting out there with all of you, as Dad always knew what to say and would say it so well. I want to take a minute and acknowledge other members of the Hartzell family here. Our daughter Leah Hartzell is here with her boyfriend Alec. Ross is here with his daughter Caitlin. Phoebe and granddaughter Ellie are up at the cabin in Minnesota. Pam was planning on being here. She's been down in Florida at the American Diabetes Association annual meeting. She had weather problems getting back into Dallas and got into St. Louis last night at about 1 a.m. was still planning to come, but they had fog down there this morning. And if any of you know Pam, she is the biggest chicken when it comes to driving in any type of weather. And I told her to be safe and not try to come. And as a side note, just in case some of you might know, our son Kyle is in Hawaii and he is okay. The hurricanes he's on Oahu where Honolulu is, and of course that wasn't a direct hit, and he is fine. For Ada, the board, the staff, and for most of you, it probably seems more like a 10-year anniversary. 5 years of planning and construction, and now 5 years of going strong in Memorial Hospital's new location. Thanks to all of you for your dedication and commitment to Memorial Hospital. Dad's mother, Mrs. Mary Ferris Hartzell, began our family's history and legacy with Memorial Hospital. She, along with all those mentioned by earlier, and many others, including many of your families, made Memorial Hospital possible over 64 years ago. They saw not only the medical need and advantage to having a hospital here in Hancock County, but also the spiritual and emotional benefit to creating a living memorial for Hancock County's men and women who served during World War II and who continue to serve. They knew it would not only honor those men and women, their families and their sacrifices, but also those families in the future. As one of the founding members of Memorial Hospital Association, Dad's mother served on the board. Upon Dad's return from military service and completion of law school, he began practice with Homer H. Williams. He saw the dedication of Homer and so many others to the formation, building, and operation of Memorial Hospital. I'm not sure when Dad became the hospital's attorney, but I'm pretty sure he served for over 50 years. He believed it was his privilege to be the hospital's attorney. He not only contributed in a professional manner, but like most of you, gave of his time, his talents, and his financial resources, all to benefit Memorial Hospital and the community. Dad was truly honored to have been a part of Memorial Hospital. Phoebe and I look forward to continuing the Hartzell family legacy with Memorial Hospital. Pam and my children, Leah and Kyle, and Phoebe and Ross's children, Carrie, Abby, and Caitlin, know that Memorial Hospital is important to the Hartzell family. The fifth generation, Carrie's daughter Ellie, and Abby and Dan O'Hearn's daughter Piper, are still a little bit young to appreciate this legacy. Phoebe and her granddaughter Ellie are at the family cabin on Seagull Lake, Gunflint Trail, Grand Marais, Minnesota. It is truly a beautiful area and has a beautiful lake located thereon. Several of you here have been there, besides our family, Terry Pope, Diane and Brad Chardon. Lynn Fisher's been there, in fact, just last year with his son Matt on a canoe trip, and Judge Gambrell was on a canoe trip when it just got a little windy, I think. These people truly know how the area looks. While at the cabin on Seagull Lake, Dad would sit on the cabin's deck or down at the dock and look down lake. If you asked him what he was doing, he would answer the way his best friend Art Keller would answer, reflecting. Dad's memorial service shows him sitting on the dock at the cabin on Seagull Lake, looking down lake, reflecting. The Hartzell family hopes that Hartzell Lake will be a place where people can stop and reflect. In the waters of Seagull Lake are walleye, and in my opinion, walleye are the best tasting fish to eat. I will speak to the powers to be about the possibility of stocking Hartzell Lake with some walleye. After a few years, I will then bring back a homemade worm harness by Dad and Art. They use communion cups as part of these homemade worm harnesses for spinners. Now, the Presbyterian communion cups always caught more and better fish than any other. Just before the deck, or before you get to the deck, on the cabin and on the walkway from the deck down to the boat dock are pieces of slate from the Gunflint Trail. This is an example of a piece of slate from the Gunflint Trail. I ran out of time this summer to get some pieces of slate, and this piece is actually taken from the walkway down to the dock. On my next trip to the cabin, I will bring back some pieces of slate, which hopefully can be incorporated into the Hartzell Lake area. On behalf of the Hartzell family, we thank you for your commitment, your dedication, and your loyalty to Memorial Hospital.
Good morning. Shelley and I are very pleased to be part of this special day and the 5th anniversary of this beautiful hospital and the dedication of the lake and memory garden in memory and honor of Franklin Hartzell. Mr. Hartzell was a person that Shelley and I greatly enjoyed spending time with, and we considered him a good friend. However, our friendship wasn't immediate. When we first met Franklin, Shelley and I were both intimidated. He was a very distinguished, noble, and respected man who we thought usually didn't say much. Thankfully, Mr. Hartzell was involved with both the hospital and the bank, and we slowly got to know him and found common interests. We found that he was a walking history book of Hancock County and could tell stories for hours about the county and its inhabitants. Although we thought he originally didn't say much, we actually found out that once you got to know him, he was quite a conversationalist and would enjoy hearing and telling a good joke. Some of the stories he shared with us were from when he was a young boy, and he enjoyed playing with another young boy named David Mack, whose family owned the house that we now own. We sat many evenings with Franklin talking about his adventures with the young Mack boy. Franklin also introduced us to the surviving Mack family, invited them to our house on multiple occasions because of their continued interest in their old family home. One of the stories Franklin shared with us was when he and the young David Mack tipped over a neighbor's outhouse, or as Franklin would call, the privy, reminding us that Franklin, in his youth, did have a bit of an ornery streak. We feel very fortunate that we became friends and he shared part of his life with us. He was a person of great faith and could quote biblical stories in Scripture and cared about his church. Through his involvement in community organizations, you could see that he cared about people and was a wonderful steward supporting these organizations, both financially and with his personal time, helping improve the community, including this beautiful hospital. In addition to caring about his fellow man, he cared deeply for his family. When he spoke of his grandchildren, he would simply refer to them as the grands, and would always look forward to seeing them and enjoying spending time with all of his family. We were also able to share in some of this with him because our children are of similar age to Franklin's grandchildren. And we had the opportunity to sit together some Friday nights at the football field enjoying some good Illini West football. He was also very fond of spending time at his cabin on Seagull Lake near Grand Marais, Minnesota. He had over 50 years worth of stories of the trips to the cabin with family and friends that he would share with us. One of the neighbors across the lake owned a winery, and Franklin had input into the label that was put on one of their wines named Gunflint Red, so it is no coincidence that Franklin's cabin is located just off of Gunflint Trail. The label, if you could see it, this is a bottle Franklin had given us. This label has a view of this beautiful lake that he enjoyed every summer. His love of Seagull Lake helps make the naming of this lake seem like a very appropriate honor and something that we believe Franklin would be deeply moved by. Because of our friendship and awareness of Franklin, knowing his love of the community, his family, and his fellow man, we feel very privileged and honored, along with those affiliated with Memorial Hospital and all the friends and supporters, to officially dedicate and name the body of water on this campus, Hartzell Lake, in loving memory of Franklin Hartzell, as well as the memorial garden nearby that will have a plaque placed on the large boulder that reads, quote, This place of remembrance is a loving tribute to Franklin Hartzell, who was a faithful steward to Memorial Hospital. Franklin loved his family and friends and showed compassion to his community. As it says in Matthew 25, verse 21, "Well done, good and faithful servant," unquote. Thank you.
I would once again like to thank you for joining us this morning and invite you to please, if you would like, to walk across the parking lot and take a look at the beginning of the Memorial Garden for Franklin. And inside, I can tell you there are some wonderful refreshments awaiting. And if anyone would like, we can also give you a tour of the hospital, because we're always surprised that in spite of the fact that we've been here 5 years, sometimes people haven't gotten to look all around. So we would be more than happy to give you a tour, and have a wonderful rest of the day. And again, thank you.